Let's go back and talk about my first experience with applied neurology. In what the Z Health called the Essentials course, which is a overview of the first three of 13 courses in a applied neurology curriculum. Every course teaches you different things about neurology, how you can assess things, determine what people need based on their history or their health history and what they've done to themselves, identify areas based on assessment, and train different things that our brains need to be able to do, including see, balance, move well, breathe well. There's like anything and everything out there is an option. And what determines the option is just understanding a little bit about how their brain is working, understanding some neurology in itself on the feeding pattern of the brain, what areas are responsible for different tasks and different things, the overlaps of areas. I think I heard recently, like if everything that a human can do had its own space, our heads and brains would be like the size of a school bus. So the idea that it's 3 pounds and it's very small in comparison to how big our bodies are, a lot of responsibilities overlap. They share areas. So understanding that kind of stuff is a big part of using applied neurology to make changes in performance, pain, wellness, health, everything of the sort. So I am in the Z Health Essentials course. I think we're in day one, and we're just learning some things. Actually, no, it was day two because we started doing some vision stuff. Day one was much more about the movement system or the movement component of our nervous system, how to use complex nonlinear movement, how to bring attention to specific joints, so on and so forth. So I'm learning different kinds of movements, but I'm a movement professional, so it's kind of like, okay, this is intriguing. I'm interested in this, but this is what I come from. So it was kind of like, yeah, I might try that. But the vision stuff was the first kind of realization for me that what's going on here? Gaze stabilization. It is a vision skill. You have 6 extraocular muscles that control the movements of your eyes. The ability to look at a stationary target for a certain amount of time. Think of that like holding a dumbbell but without moving it for a long period of time. It'd be an isometric. So our eye muscles are very small, yet they're probably the most important muscles that we've got in our system, because I think about 70% of our overall brain activation comes from what we're seeing. So the ability to move my eyes to see different things is incredibly important. So we are learning gaze stabilization. I was a coach, so really the structure of a Z Health course is you learn the science, then you learn kind of the real life, what can happen to people if that area is not working, so health history stuff. Then you learn about how it functions, how it should function, what can happen, and then you break and you're coaching people through it, and you're experiencing it as a client. So coach athlete, coach patient, whatever your world is. So I started with coaching it. Okay, I want you to stand tall and look at this letter on, I think they were actually coffee swivel sticks, but now there's like letters, and ideally you are using something, even if it's a pen that has some sort of a visual acuity component to it. So I'm like, okay, look at that. And we're seeing, can their eyes stay still looking at a target? Sometimes, like if you're looking up there, and this is like me with clients with chest gaze stabilization, and you see these little wiggles. Eyes are not focused on that one spot, and the eye muscles are uncertain on how to contract to keep that gaze. So we're exploring all of that. We're testing and retesting. You can use anything. That's one of the coolest parts of applied neurology going forward, is you don't have to wait 8 weeks to determine if something was good for you. You don't have to try and go to a gym for a month to see if you're getting a positive. If you know what to look for and you make some changes in that neurology, you should be like, you can see an immediate change. That is motivation more so than a fix for me. I think a lot of people get confused on like, wow, you did a VOR and their shoulder pain went away. That's voodoo. It's like, no, their brain needed it. They were getting a pain response because of a lack of some sort of input. We found an input that was required. It looks like their brain really, really wanted that input, and pain goes away. Can go away for the extended future. Sometimes it comes back. Sometimes it's like a scratch of the surface. We found something important, and now there's some work to be done. It's awesome for those people that do like one vision drill and their problem is gone forever. Envious of those people. I was not one, and looking back, it's like, yeah, I had a lot of brain damage. So the idea of one drill taking care of a lot of issues for me, it's been much more a chisel away, keep finding things that I can improve, keep working on things. And there has been a ton of progression, but there was never like a, oh my God. I had it the negative way in this first course, but I didn't feel better. So it was my turn to be the athlete. And coaches just, look at that. Oh, look at that. I'm an athlete by identity. So no athlete wants to be bad at stuff. So it was like, yeah, I got this. This is easy. Like, obviously it's easy. You were just looking at something. So we're looking. And when they were holding the target out, you can kind of think compass. You need to be able to look right down the middle. You need to look above and below, left and right, and all the angles. So, and again, it's like start with 5 seconds. Can I look at that for 5 seconds and then retest a neck range of motion? Any test. So in that course, I was testing my squat. I wanted to see, can any of this, like I've done a lot to improve my squat. It's not great. Is there anything in this that can help me improve my squat that I might not have thought about or have been introduced to this point? You can pretty much name it, and I had tried it at that point, especially from just a body-specific focus, smashing it, scratching it, scraping it, shocking it, heating it, cooling it, moving it, corrective exercising it, strengthening. Like, it just did a lot. And nothing, fascial stretch therapy, you name it. Squat progressions. There's a lot you can try. But it didn't work for me really well. Like, I still had a really crummy squat, super tight. I could like goblet squat with a kettlebell, offload squat with a kettlebell, but like not athletically. It's like I'm doing something, but it's not great. So I was testing my squat all weekend. Nothing had really improved in it drastically. You know, we're learning different ankle movements, different hip movements, shoulder movements, thoracic movements, hand and wrist movements. Nothing's really making me go, there's something here. Because I looked at it and went, like, I saw a guy touch his hands on the floor in hour 1, day 1 of this course, and went, it's either I drank some Kool-Aid and this is all set up, or there's a whole lot that I don't know. Because if that's possible, I want to know how and why, so I can do it for other people and myself. So I looked at it and went, man, if they can improve my squat like they improved that guy's toe touch, I'm in. So I'm kind of, I want it to work, but I'm also very skeptical of going, it's not going to work. There's no way an eye thing is going to change how my squat goes. There's no way a head movement is going to change that. Like, I don't understand it at that point. So the guy, or my coach, is holding the stick. So I had to look down and to the left. And as I'm doing that, one of the Z Health employees comes up and says, "Ooh, you're done with that." And kind of just stop. And she just starts talking to me. She's like, "Oh, like, where are you from? Where are you coming from? Oh, San Diego, that's great. Did I hear you were like in sports and stuff like that?" I was like, "Yeah, I was a goalkeeper." And she goes, "Oh, cool. Try this tennis ball drill out." So there was she grabbed a tennis ball from one of the drawers, and there were letters on it. So it's called letter ball. So making sure that you are seeing the object that you're trying to strike, catch, whatever. Most people take their eyes off it in a critical moment right before it touches their hand or implement that they're using, a mitt, whatever. So It's a vision drill. Focus on what you're seeing until right before it touches your fingers. So she just starts tossing this ball at me. Oh yeah, so what levels did you play at? Just asking me questions, and I felt better without knowing that I felt worse at all. Like I was completely unaware. So like I noticed like I got warmer, and I looked down and like I was a little white, like pale, and then I realized like, oh, I'm really kind of irritated, like I'm anxious, and that like it just kind of melted away with the conversation with her and tossing the letter ball back and forth. It's like, I like having different sport balls getting thrown at me. This is great. Like that was my position for 18 years. So I looked at her and went, what? Wait, I didn't feel good. What was that? Like that's really weird. I didn't notice that I felt gross. I didn't notice that I was pale. I didn't notice I was irritated until it went away from playing letterball. What happened there? And she goes, oh, well, like if you find something that your brain really needs, but it considers it threatening for some reason, that's a typical response. I went to like feel terrible and like get like cold and gross and just not okay. She goes, yeah, like that can happen. And I went, wow, that's wild. And in my head, I'm like, that's probably not okay that I looked down at this and all of that negative stuff happened. I wonder what that is. And it just continued on with the weekend. And I'm seeing improvements in my squat. It's not great. It's not black and white. But again, I did get some of those experiences, but it wasn't like hey, I'm looking for this to improve. We train and it's now better. It was much more just exploration. Let me try this. Let me see what happens. And things happened. So what is that? And think about that from a bigger perspective. So at that time, I'm in contacts and glasses. My vision is getting worse. I am seeing things less clearly. I remember by the end of my college career, my sport vision was not as good. And I remember the moments of like letting in a goal that I can't let those in. I've never let those in. And I let it in. And I saw it late. I saw it very slow. And so I was dealing with some vision stuff that way. Driving sucked. I didn't know at the time. I just thought, this is me driving. But a lot of anxiety, a lot of irritation, quick to anger, felt bad. Like my back and my hip would start like talking to me and yelling at me. I'd be squirming. I wanted to get wherever I was going as fast as possible because I didn't trust the other people on the road. It was not necessarily a trust thing. It was I'm not seeing well thing. And that is a very interesting concept. And now driving with a lot of rehab and seeing others drive, the decline in our vision as a culture or as a society is kind of scary. Like it will create the case for automated vehicles. But I think driving right now is holding a lot of us together neurologically because it's one of the more taxing things that our brains have to do. So I'm not curious to see how our brains degrade from now you don't drive, you just get in a car and the car drives you somewhere. Like think about the requirements. You have to be looking around all the time if you're a good driver. You have to potentially turn your head. So now there's some balance stimulation because head movement activates the balance center. You have to be aware auditorily. Are there sirens? Is there a honk? Is there a scream? Is there a whatever? It's all happening subconsciously for the most part. But yeah, what a wild experience. Like driving is a normal thing, but man, neurologically, like it's a big ask. So it makes a lot of sense why I would have had a lot of anger, irritation, issues driving after learning about, I can't look at a target without feeling really gross. And that's one of the foundational vision skills. So I kind of looked at it and went, man, that wasn't okay. So what I did from that course, I brought that information back, and I just tried to do it. And sure enough, like I'm getting more pain. My neck is super tight, and I'm going, okay, not the right approach. I didn't know at the time, like there are two different kind of buckets to put people in neurologically. You've hit your head, you haven't hit your head. Simple as that. And I am like mayor of the hit your head bucket. So you really don't want to start with vision training and inner ear training with those people. Go figure, we're starting to create protocols in our concussion rehab. And those are the things that they just throw at people. Hey, do this until you feel better. That's not how it works. If you're getting a negative response from something, that is your brain saying, do something different. Could be something along that line, but something needs to change. Do not just continue. And that is ultimately modern pain science. If you have a neck pain, if you have a shoulder pain, if you have a hand pain, an ankle pain, a foot pain, something of the sort, it's not nearly as much about the structure of that area as it is your brain being unhappy. Simply, we need to bring in a bunch of information from our environment. We need to be able to interpret and decide what all of that means, and then plan and execute an appropriate action. The driving thing we've said already. I see that the light is red. I'm getting input into my vision system. I put that input into my decision-making process and go, well, based on prior education, based on prior knowledge and experience maybe, even if it's not I lived that experience, I saw someone on YouTube run a red light and get smashed in the intersection. All of that type of stuff is in our framework for making decision processes or making decisions. So what happens is, red light. You process that you just saw the light turn red. You know without even a thought, it's a split-second decision that I put my brake on in this experience and I stop the car. But the amount that actually takes place to make that happen is so cool that we don't even have to think about it. Subconsciously, it's red, stop, done. If we didn't, think about how long things would take. Red light. Okay, let me think about that real quick. Red light. What do the light colors mean again? So green light, I think I remember, is go. Yellow. Yeah, red light means stop. Okay, what's the stop part of this car? No, we're wired to kind of create circuitry for things so we can save energy. But doesn't mean that, again, that pain response, it's coming from a brain saying, I'm unhappy, you need to change something. That's a lot harder because we don't live in an aware society. It's just go. If you break, we have the specialists to go to fix that thing. Where if we were aware, we'd go, I changed this thing. 2 weeks later, I've developed a shoulder problem. It's okay. What were those things? I put new speakers in my room, and it's favoring my right ear where they used to favor my left. That is literally a simple way to create a problem for yourself. And it might not be that exact situation, but that's something to consider. So again, pain. So I'm getting a pain response from doing these vision drills, which ultimately means, hey, you need to do something different. And I looked at it now I look at it and go, that stuff was so broken that my brain was not interested in trying to supply the calories to fix it. I didn't have good breathing pattern. I didn't have a lot of great activation. So my brain went, yeah, that's great that you want to try that. We do need it. You're going to get a negative experience from it to highlight that you need it. But often we just kind of shy away from the negative stuff. And it could be something that teaches us about ourselves. So I look at it and go, okay, well, I'm getting a pain response. My brain's upset. It's not a cervical disc issue. It's not a muscle tear or anything of the sort. It is my pissed off brain. And so I started trying to do them on my back. So laying on my back, doing the same drill. So if you're getting a negative response from something, often just changing it to make it easier, change the position, change the range of motion, change how long you're looking at something, add some breathing or movement. There's different ways to kind of work through some damaged areas or underactive areas. And like, okay, that's a little bit better, but still, like, I'm getting negative responses. Like, I would finish looking at the targets all the way around and like feel anxious, not like feel wound up, I don't feel better. And that's the goal of all this stuff, is to make yourself feel better and push the envelope of what you can do. So it got to the point where I went, okay, like, I'm not okay sucking at this. I'm not okay having a big, like, essentially calorie dump. That's really what happened is, hey, like, your brain needs fuel. As you get low on fuel, it doesn't get to do its job as well. So I had a lot of stuff going on. Your frontal lobe is kind of the babysitter for the rest of your brain. So my frontal lobe had a lot of babysitting to do, to the point where it couldn't manage my emotions. It couldn't manage the fluidity and overall quality of my movement anymore. I was kind of tighter, stiffer, strong in a gym sense, but I wasn't playing sports. And every time I tried to climb and I couldn't hold a pencil, I would throw a frisbee, and just massive amounts of problems with that arm from my soccer career. So it's just kind of like, okay, I'm still not getting a result from this. It literally led to me trying it before bed. Lights are already off. I'm laying on my back in bed with my eyes closed, looking at that target. And that was the first, I can't say I had a tremendous amount of positive input or positive result from it. The positive was when I would get up and I would do it, like I did that for about a week. I no longer got the negative response from the drills. I didn't get a lot of positive, but I was happy with, hey, I can look at that thing and not get sick. That was a big deal. So kind of what's going on with all of that? So you can kind of think of your brain as a big old wheat field. I'm trying to use more analogies because this stuff is so different and such a paradigm shift to kind of how we think about things currently in the health in our system of working with people, that I think analogies are really important for the learning. Go figure, Abe Lincoln, like the best analogy storyteller, like of our time. He was able to get an entire cabinet together as president that hated him. And they were crazy successful for what they were going through in that time. I thought that was fascinating because most people I don't get along with, we don't work together either. It's like, what a skill to take a enemy and make them a positive part of what you're trying to do, like the ultimate politician. I heard that once and I went, oh, I'm the worst politician ever. It's getting people to do what you want them to do while making them think that it's their idea. I'm not good at that. So an analogy of, okay, this specific vision thing. So we've got a wheat field. It's a big old wheat field. You can even think it's just one of those, like, it's one of those pictures that has the picture or the landscape in a sphere. Think of it that way. It's just a spherical or brain-shaped wheat field. You open your eyes. Now this wheat field starts to get these little tiny paths in it. And the more we use that path, let's say we know that direction is food. And we go, great, I know food is over there. So every time I want food, I'm going to start walking this path. And as you walk that path, it starts to dampen down. It becomes dirt. And time goes on. Now it's a path that you go, well, man, it's starting to get hard to get my food back and forth. Let me get something to carry more. So that path becomes wider so that you can get your cart on it. And time goes on and you're going, man, there are more efficient ways to go get this food. I got a car and I'm going to start driving on it. You go, man, it's so dusty and my car's always dirty and there's this huge dust patch behind me all the time. Everything around is more dirty. Let's pave it. That's kind of how our brains work when we provide stimulus. It creates a little path. And if it's not used, the wheat grows back in. So if you want those paths used, you have to use them. We are use it or lose it organisms. So if we don't use something, it doesn't make sense to keep it. Because it doesn't matter if there's if you're selling that wheat, now you have less wheat to sell. For us, it's why burn energy and calories on things that we're not using? Just let them degrade so they don't need calorie support, and we'll put the calories towards the things that you do the most. So this vision drill. So you got to think, I am in my 20s at this point. I've got a lot of experience. So I've got paths all over my wheat field. Some of them are still dirt paths. Some of them are concrete and cars are driving on them. Some are still in the wagon stage, so on and so forth. So when I did this vision drill, ultimately it was like hey, let's go take this path. And I'm halfway down that path and the path has completely eroded. Maybe trees fell across it or something happened to it where now I have to contemplate, okay, do I do all of the work required to open up this path again? Or do we give ourselves a reason that it's not an important path to begin with? And so that was kind of what I experienced with that first vision drill. I came across a path. Hey, here's an experience. Look down there and keep looking at it. It's an experience that I had never brought to consciousness. Had I looked down there? Yeah, that's every ball you strike with your left foot, you're looking down there. That is the window in your car looking down there. That is looking at a desk and something on the left side of the desk. We're using our eyes. It's just a matter of, do we know what's happening, or is it just all subconscious processes like it was designed to be? If our environment took care of us, we don't have a lot of issues, but our environment no longer takes care of us. So we actually have to take care of ourselves in a way that our environment used to. So I get to that path and go, ooh, cool, look at this. And I go down that path and go, oh, no, it's blocked. Like, do we want to put the energy into clearing this path? No, we want to conserve as much energy as possible. Do we want to make a path around this? That's a lot. Like, now I've got days. Now I got to walk it every day to turn it into, just to get the wheat down. Now I got to walk it so it becomes dirt. Now I got to walk it and make it bigger so now I can put a cart on it. It is a lot of energy. It's a lot of calories. Not interested. And that's what happened. So us not interested in changing the wheat field is gross stuff. Make you feel anxious, make you feel irritated, emotional in some way, give you a physical feeling. I felt cold, I felt nauseous, I had cold sweats, I was pale. Others experience pain. Like, hey, I got a shoulder problem. Hey, I got a low back problem. Go figure, our eyes and our spine are very, very intimately linked. Again, you'd need a school bus if everything had its own space. One of those layers that work with each other are spine and eyes. It kind of makes sense, right? If I have to look up and I need to look up further, what am I going to do? Use my spine. If I have to look over there and it keeps moving out of my field of vision, what do I have to do? I probably have to move my spine. So again, a lot of these things are really cool and they make a lot of sense once you just hear it that way. So for me, it was, my brain went, oh, great, cool experience. Yep, you just found a roadblock. You just found a wheat field path that is blown up, that it's going to take a whole lot of energy. Sorry, dude, we're going to give you a negative response until you do something different. And that is the start of my experience in applied neurology, was doing a vision drill, having no idea in the moment that I was ultimately making myself feel bad, until started throwing a tennis ball at me and go, oh, I like this, and then feeling better and going, what was that? And now I know it was, Yeah, your brain has a lot of underactive areas and damaged areas from concussion use, antibiotic use, Advil use, oral surgeries, oral issues, gut problems, gut health. What I ate were issues. How I breathed was an issue. I had a lot of stuff. I did a lot of stuff to myself. Some stuff we don't deserve, but it's you still need to recognize that it happened. A car accident, like lots of head injuries. So my brain has a lot of wheat field or of paths that are under construction now. They're damaged. They're not working well, and so my brain is at a constant level of, dude, we're applying enough calories for you to do ultimately what you need to do at the absolute lowest level. Like, I could work, but the quality of the work, I think it's much more quality driven now than it ever was. But it was quantity. I can do work. I can show up. I can be there I can do 60 hours a week between two jobs. That was easy for me to just go because I was already hyperactive. My brain was going, hey, we're not doing well, so stay ramped up. I struggled with sleep. I struggled with digestion. I struggled with stuff, all that kind of stuff, and those are symptoms of something's going on up here. So I had a lot of wheat pathways that just were under construction, broken, unaware they were broken, and that explains a lot of what I was dealing with. I was dealing with chronic pain, chronic shoulder stuff, chronic elbow stuff, chronic back stuff. I missed time in my sport because of injuries and pain. I was an angry, irritated, impulsive, get me off the road driver. I dealt with chronic gut stuff, pain after I ate, bloating, distension, gas, not fun bathroom experiences for years. Too much. It's important. Most people are dealing with stuff they don't want to talk about it. So I'll be your safe guide to start talking to somebody about it and seeing if you can address it. Because if you can change your gut health, wow, you change a lot. So my brain looked at it as, hey, we're babysitting a whole lot of things right now. Like, we are just managing this whole wheat field, hanging on by a thread. So it made a lot of sense as to why I didn't have a lot of capacity for things. Simply, capacity for movement without pain, capacity for driving without emotional issues and anger and impulses and back pain and stuff like that. Capacity to do my job better. Like, I did well enough, but not near where I'm at now. Some people got help, other people did not get help. I would like to be able to help everybody. That's a lofty goal. It's like, people are complicated. But that's the goal, and it takes a lot more education, a lot better observation skills, a lot better listening skills. But the biggest difference is I can start now that I have done a lot of construction and rehabilitation on that wheat field. I can work on listening. I can work on asking better questions. I can work on these things versus I'm here and I just noticed that now I'm here and I'm just a little bit worse and a little bit worse as time goes by. If you look back, I was better then than I am now. This approach flipped that to where now I'm better now than I was then. And that is I think everyone's looking for that. No one wants to degrade with time. No one wants to not have answers for their health issues, whatever. No one wants to have to go to a doctor all the time. So the idea that, hey, identifying areas that your brain is upset with, you have some sort of a damage or underactivity to that specific wheat path, and changing it so that you can start to do things better, to where now I don't deal with the road rage and there are blips of anger and being upset, and that I recognize them and they actually tell me something important. You got to do drills. You have work to do. You do more breathing stuff, do more vision stuff. So whatever it is, so that when that person decides they're going to cut you off, you can just go, oof. all right, let me slow down and just make it a safe distance again. So that's a big difference. So taking care of your wheat field, taking care of the paths, making sure that you are aware that every time you're experiencing something, you're either engraving something or challenging something. And the idea that if you have a healthy brain, you're not dealing with pain. You're not dealing with discomfort. You're not dealing with the emotional regulation stuff. You're not dealing with gut stuff. You're not dealing with everything that is ultimately like speaking very loudly to us right now as a society. It's a different look and a different mindset. So there's my first experience with applied neurology. It wasn't a good one, but man, it was very important to experience that, to go, something's up. I need to continue pursuing that.